Today, I am going to go through my end of season Premier League awards. I've actually put together a bit of a slideshow for you guys. This isn't just your typical awards. I've added some little extras in there that maybe most people don't talk about. But to be fair, I think a lot of the answers are pretty self-explanatory, and we're going to get straight into it. And yes, there's no career mode video today. I'm sorry, guys. I just didn't feel like it. I said it yesterday. I thought I'd do this. The season just ended. It's what we're all talking about. We'll be back to the career mode tomorrow. So we're going to get into the most obvious first award. Is it going to let me? There we go. I can click Player of the Season. There were quite a few candidates for this one. The winner officially was Kevin De Bruyne. I have not chosen Kevin De Bruyne. I have gone with the Egyptian king, El Neni. No, I'm kidding. It is Mo Salah. Look, guys, I know I'm going to get some hate in this video, so this is a good time to remind you this is my personal awards, my choices, my personal opinion. So if you disagree, that's absolutely fine. But you can't look past the stats. And this Player of the Season award isn't top scorer. It isn't like, who scored the most goals. You've got to look more into the bigger picture. If you look at most attacking stats in the Premier League, you're going to see Salah at the top pretty much of every single category. He got the most assists, the joint most goals. I know Heung-min Son got most goals as well without penalties, but still, I think Salah overall is the player of the season in the Premier League. Very, very closely followed by the runner-up Heung-min Son or Kevin De Bruyne. It's a difficult one. I think, imagine if Kevin De Bruyne didn't have the 4 goals against Norwich and wasn't so pivotal in the last few weeks in the Premier League. I think you're looking at maybe just above average season for him. That might sound really harsh, but hopefully some people know what I'm saying. De Bruyne hasn't had his best season for Man City, yet he's still got Player of the Season, and that's not me having a go at the awards. He's a fair, worthy winner. They won the league in the end. But for me, both Salah and Heung-min Son have actually had better seasons. This, for me, is probably Heung-min Son's best season. He has been absolutely incredible for Tottenham, and it pains me to say it. What would Tottenham do without him and Harry Kane? I don't know. But to get 23 goals this season without penalties is truly remarkable. So we are going to go Salah, and then we are going to go runner-up Heung-min Son. Next, we're going to go to the underrated player of the season. Again, a very tricky award to give. And remember, this is just my personal opinion. I went through a lot of players in my head. It kind of had to be one of the top teams, right? Well, maybe not. The problem you've got here is, how can you pick a player as the most underrated player if they haven't won anything or something like that? So in the end, I did go with this man right here, Rodri. This guy does not get enough credit. Scored in the final game of the season to get the equaliser. Huge moment in that game. They've just got a goal back. If they get one more, they're drawing. And then they're guaranteed to go on and get the third. We all knew it was going to happen, and they needed a big moment. And Rodri isn't just going to be remembered for that goal this season. He is such a machine. He is the engine of that Man City side. And I'm not saying he's the best midfielder in the league. Of course, I'm not saying that, even though he is right up there. But for me, he is one of the most underrated players in world football right now. No one talks about him. Rodri, the number 16, I think is, yeah, you can just see it on his leg there. The number 16 for Man City does not get talked enough about. He is just absolutely fantastic. But I do also have a runner-up in place behind Rodri. We have Ward-Prowse. And the only reason he isn't getting talked about more is because he's playing for Southampton. He's had his best season, for sure. And he's the best free kick taker in the world right now. You can't convince me otherwise. He is obviously an English player, and there is some hype there, and he does get called up to the English team. But in terms of overperforming for a club that have struggled so much this season, James Ward-Prowse won plenty of Man of the Match awards. He's scored the most free kicks this season. I believe he's only 1 or 2 behind David Beckham or something. And he's still got another 5-6 years if he wants to. He needs a big move, but I don't think he will. He's captain, and I had to mention James Ward-Prowse in this video. Fair play to him. Next, we have the surprise player of the season. I'm going to get hate for this one, But again, it's just my personal opinion. Having gone through plenty of different names, I have gone with Arsenal's new goalkeeper. Yes, I'm an Arsenal fan. Yeah, there might be a bit of bias there, but honestly, if you look at the first 12 weeks of this season, there was not a better goalkeeper in the league. He hasn't had such a strong second half to the season, but he's still made some big saves. I think Aaron Ramsdale has shocked the whole world of football. Everyone was saying, oh, he's been relegated many times in his career. He's moving for this crazy amount of money. What is going on at Arsenal? What are they smoking? What are they doing? And he shut everyone up. He's now England #1, I would argue. Should be playing. I think some people still think Pickford. You can make the argument that they're both maybe fighting for that #1 spot. I'd obviously go with Ramsdale. Do you know what? I reckon if he cost 10 million less, he wouldn't have got so much hate. I believe that. English player that's gone on to do great things. Really not just a surprise player of the season, but one of Arsenal's best, that's for sure. We do have a runner-up, though, and I have decided to go with Cucurella. Actually, did he sign this season? I don't know, but he's definitely a surprise player. Fantastic left-back. I think he's ex-Barcelona, so there's no surprise that he's got some ability there. But he has been fantastic for Brighton, and he is a mini Hugh Wizzy. If you know, you know. Up next, we have the flop of the season. Really quite easy, this one. Didn't struggle at all. It is, of course, Lukaku for Chelsea. Over £100 million. And you know what? I remember when he scored against Arsenal, our second game of the season, I thought, oh no, we've kicked off what could be a campaign where he finishes top scorer, gets 30 goals, because he is that good. He can be that good, but my God, he has flopped all right. But we do also have a runner-up, and that is Lukaku. He's been that bad, he gets both spots. I saw some people saying it should be maybe Sancho, and I thought, that's a bit harsh. Jack Grealish, for the price, hasn't really performed, but Lukaku gets both spots. Manager of the season up next, and again, there is only one answer, and if you disagree with me, that's fine. You just happen to be really wrong. That is, of course, Eddie Howe. How can you say otherwise? This guy came into a Newcastle team that couldn't win. Literally. And I mean that literally. They could not win. And they finished 11th, I believe, which is truly remarkable. And it isn't just the results. It's how he's done it. They have an identity. They play with reason, with purpose. And he has changed some of those players. We'll talk about one of those players in a little bit because he's won one of the awards. But for sure, Eddie Howe is my manager of the season. Had to be. And up next, we've got the signing of the season. There was quite a few players we could go with. In the end, I decided to go with Luis Diaz. I know a lot of people might say, well, he's only been here for a couple of months since January. It's a bit unfair to give him signing of the season. No! This guy has come in and single-handedly fixed a problem for Liverpool. And do you know what that problem is? What happens if Salah leaves? What happens if Mane or Salah pick up an injury? This guy is going to propel them to, I think, a Champions League victory and the treble. Is it really the treble, though? If it's without the Premier League? I don't know. But Luis Diaz, for sure. One of the best signings in recent history. He could have gone to Tottenham. How scary is that? We do have a runner-up. And speaking of Tottenham, Kulusevski. For me... I'm angry. I'm angry. I really wanted him at Arsenal. I remember seeing the links last summer. I was thinking, oh, wow, we could be bringing Kulusevski to Arsenal. And then January comes around and he's linked with plenty of loan deals. He ends up at Tottenham and I'm thinking, well, do you know what? He plays in Saka's position. It's all right. He won't do that well. And he has done incredibly well. I would argue... if Tottenham didn't bring him in, on loan, by the way, in January, and they'll buy him for not a hefty price, but a considerable amount of money, they wouldn't have got top four without him. And I mean that. And I'm saying that even as an Arsenal fan that thinks Son and Harry Kane have literally carried that club for years now. Kulusevski helped them a lot. Lots of goals, lots of assists. Really, really good. More assists than Kevin De Bruyne. Since January as well, he's been there. So really, really impressive from Kulusevski, and it pains me to say it. Okay, we're going to move on to game of the season. And again, this is my personal opinion, and it really could only be one choice. And it came right at the end of the season. The Man City versus Aston Villa at the Etihad, the title-winning game. This will go down in history as one of the most craziest comebacks because of what was at stake. Thankfully, I guess you could say City didn't have to win today because Liverpool needed to win as well. And they went on to win. But the timings of Liverpool's goals and the fact that Villa were 2-0 up, it's just an absolutely incredible arc. What a way to end the season. And Gundogan, what a player. Absolutely unbelievable. This, for me, was the game of the season. There was not a better game. Well, maybe entertainment-wise there wasn't. Oh, I don't know now. There were a few. No, it has to be, just because of what was on the line. Then next we have the goal of the season. Again, this is really down to interpretation, down to personal preference. There's just one goal that stands out for me this season that still blows my mind when I watch the replays. It isn't the most technically gifted goal I've ever seen, but it was just the movement, the way the ball hit the back of the net. Oh, it has to be Almiron versus Crystal Palace. If you haven't seen this goal, there is a slow-mo replay somewhere. I think it's on YouTube. I saw it on Reddit when it happened. And they have, like a really slow camera, and you can see the touch, the pass from Bruno Guimaraes to put Almiron through. It is, without doubt, my favourite goal of the season. My top goal, and the finish, the way it just slides into the roof of the net. It's perfection. Moment of the season. This was a tricky one. As an Arsenal fan, I was tempted to put in the Ødegaard signing. That was one of the moments of the season for me, signing such a great player. But actually, I think it comes down to one moment that I think the whole world was happy to see, and that was Eriksen coming back from what could have been the end of his life in the Euros. He came back, plays for Brentford, he signed in January, and then he went on to score vital goals for them, including one at Chelsea, which is this picture here. What a player. Part of me hopes he stays at Brentford for next season, but I've heard he's got plenty of Premier League clubs that are interested. Some player. And with what happened to him, truly remarkable. What a warrior. Now we have the Overachievers, and I've gone with two clubs for this award. I've decided to go with Brighton and Newcastle. Brighton finishing in the top half. Is that overachieving? Yes, I think so. Potter's done an incredible job with not too much to spend, but what he's been able to do with specifically his midfield is, it is unbelievable. I don't think Brighton, without Potter, would have been able to achieve what they did this season. And with a couple of the signings they did make, really, really solid performance from them this season. But I was tempted to just say Newcastle because in 19th place without a win, Eddie Howe comes in and almost gets them into the top half. And worth noting, they have won the fourth most points in 2022 in the Premier League. Fourth most points. Overachieving. 100%. It's going to be tough to keep that form going into next season if they lose a couple of players. But of course, they now have money. I think the next category is quite easy. Underachievers. Manchester United narrowly avoided the Conference League because West Ham bottled it. There is no other team you could put here, I don't think. I mean, who underachieved more than Manchester United this season? Simply not good enough. Big, big project ahead of Erik ten Hag. Next season is going to be fascinating. The golden oldie. There can only be one answer to this category. Only one winner. This is a player that defies logic, defies physical powers of human beings. This man right here, Ronaldo, is a joke of a human being. 18 goals, I think, this season in the Premier League. Third top scorer. Without Ronaldo, Manchester United would have underachieved even more. They would have been in the bottom half. And I'm convinced that if he does not sign another year, they're going to really struggle. Unless, of course, they can bring in some other players. But Ronaldo is a talisman. It's not just the goals. It's him being there. Some people would argue, and, I can get behind it. He can also have a bad impact because there's an aura around him. Everyone looks to give him the ball, and if he's not playing well, no one else will, and he's the main focus. Everything's built around him, and the guy's 39 years old, I think, now. Is he 39 or 38, 37? One of them. He's a golden oldie, okay? Unbelievable. Manchester United legend, Real Madrid legend, but most importantly, a footballing icon. Just too good. Then we have the future star. Look, I wasn't going to put in Saka, Mason Mount, and all of these typical players. I've gone with someone that was really hyped up halfway through the season, and he's gone on to do some really good things for Aston Villa, and that is Ramsey. I think we could be looking at one of the best midfielders with Gerrard training him every day. I mean, the sky's the limit for Jacob Ramsey. He will play for England. He will eventually move to one of the top clubs. But Aston Villa is a great place for him right now. They are a top side, a massive club, but they will have to work hard to keep hold of him beyond this new contract he has signed. But future star goes to Jacob Ramsey. We then have the most improved, and I mentioned it before. This is going to be a Newcastle player, a player that signed many years ago for a lot of money, flopped hard, and is now considered, I mean, I've seen people calling him world class, and that is Joelinton. Eddie Howe has changed this man's career. He's playing as a central midfielder now, and it is absolutely unbelievable what Eddie Howe has done with Joelinton. And it's very easy to say, oh, the manager's changed his career. Well done to him. No, well done to Joelinton to perform at that level, to, I think, single-handedly change their midfield. Unbelievable. Him and Bruno, two Brazilian masterpieces in midfield. And that will be the spine of this Newcastle team in the future. We then have the most regressed. I don't use that word too often. The player that was at the top level just 12 months ago and has plummeted. There is only one real winner here. It has to be Bruno. And it says a lot. I need to talk about this because I know I'll get some hate from United fans, but I'm sure a lot of them will agree as well. The problem here isn't how bad he's been this season. It's how good he was last season. He set the bar so high, for me, one of the best midfielders in the world last season. Just unreal stats. To this, I've never seen such a plummet in form. A lack of confidence. But the thing is, he's still got relatively okay numbers this season. It's just because he's come so far down from up here. It's a difficult one, but for me, it had to be Bruno. And then that was it. That was the awards I've gone through so far. I couldn't think of any more, guys. So I've probably missed a couple, but, you know, I could go on and on and on and on. I think in general, I'm quite happy with my selection. If you disagree, then leave a comment. But please don't be mean about it. It's just my opinion. But back with career mode tomorrow, as I said, guys. And don't forget to check out the Facebook. More F1 content going up tonight. We have our final 5 races of Season 2 in the McLaren. Please do check it out. And I cannot wait for the summer. We're going to be doing some transfer videos, talking about what players I think teams should sign. And before you know it, the new season will begin.